it's like, okay. So, okay, we are starting. Welcome to the 12th edition of ALFILM. I'm sorry. Welcome to the 12th edition of ALFILM. I am Pascale Fakhry. I am the artistic director of the festival. And I'm very happy to welcome with me this evening Maryam Touzani, the director of Adam. Good evening, Maryam.
Good evening, Pascale.
Adam, and this talk is brought to you in cooperation with the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. First, I would like so much to thank you, Maryam, for this very elegant and very strong film. And congratulations, because Adam has had a very beautiful parcours until now. It premiered in Un Certain Regard in Cannes in 2019 and has won numerous awards in many international film festivals, among them Alguna, Carthage, the Chicago International Film Festival, the Palm Springs International Film Festivals, and many, many, many others. This is your debut fiction film, correct? So congratulations! It's a great achievement. You already, before Adam, you worked as a director. You directed 2 short films, When They Slept and Aya Goes to the Beach. Both of them won many prestigious awards worldwide. You also worked as a scenarist, you wrote scripts. You co-wrote 2 scripts with your husband, Nabil Ayouch, Much Love and Razia. And you also played the lead role in Razia. So one can say you are a very well-rounded cinema professional. And Maryam is your debut film, and it is based on something you lived in your youth. Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yes, definitely. Adam is inspired by a real character. It's inspired by a woman that I met when I moved back from university, and I had spent a few months with my parents in their house in Tangier in the north of Morocco. And one day there is this woman that came knocking on our door that we did not know. We had never seen her before, and she was 8 months pregnant. She was alone. She was afraid. She had nowhere to go. And she said she was looking for a job, but my mom understood that it wasn't the case. So anyways, she let her in because she did not want to leave her on the street in that condition, pregnant and tired. And, she realized that, this woman had a problem. And my parents tried to help her find a solution. They thought she was going to stay with us for a few days, but finally they realized there was no solution because she had fled her village. She could not go back. Nobody knew she was pregnant, and she wanted to give birth to her child and give him away before going back home in order to give herself another chance in life. So you might say it that way. So she was decided to give her child away. And I experienced the whole last part of her pregnancy with her. And I saw this young woman become a mother literally in front of my eyes. I also saw how she struggled to suffocate her maternal instinct because she was afraid to love this child she was bearing, because she knew that she had to leave him behind. She had no other choice. And for me, it was something very, very intense, as you can imagine, a very intense experience. I actually went with her and with my parents to give her child away. And I mean, this had a very big impact on me, and I kept her inside me for a lot of years. And 17 years after that, when I became a mother myself for the first time, as I started feeling my child inside me, I really felt the violence of what this woman had experienced. And I felt it differently because now I felt it in my own flesh. I understood what it meant to tell a mother to be, that she could not welcome her child, that she's not allowed to love her child. And so it was very violent. And basically I started writing without knowing what I was going to make of it. I just needed to write this story. And meanwhile, I mean, life had happened, 17 years of life in my own life. So her story mixed with my story, with my experiences, and these 2 characters were born.
Yeah, I absolutely understand what you say about your pregnancy making you feel that way about this experience while I was watching the film, because I also had children. I was really torn apart in the moments where she was trying not to come close to this baby, where she was trying to keep it away from her. It was a very powerful moment for me. So
Yeah.
I also, sorry, I was taken away by this feeling. And what happened to her? Do you know? Or I mean, also this film was written 17 years ago, and apparently the situation for women who are having children on their own, who are bringing children on their own in Morocco, but also in many other Arab countries, hasn't changed much.
Pascal, I've lost you. I don't know if you see me because I don't see you. I'm trying to see what's happening because I don't see you anymore.
Okay, I hope this has nothing to do with the connection. I can see you. I can hear you. Can you see me?
I can't see you. I can just hear you. Can you see me?
Yes.
That's so strange. Let me see.
We can see you online and we can see both of us. So if this doesn't bother you, we'll see if this reappears.
Yeah, let's leave it this way. I mean, I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
So yes, I'm sorry. What were you saying, Pascal?
I was saying you wrote this story 17 years ago. I mean, you lived this story 17 years ago. You carried it with you all along. And now, 17 years after, the story is still as accurate as it was before. These women who are bringing children to life on their own, outside of wedding, outside of a relationship, are still having the same difficulties they had 17 years ago. Or has anything changed?
I wish I could say that things have changed. I wish I could say that things have changed because, I mean, it's been 17 years plus 3 years. It's been 20 years now. And I wish it's 2 decades that things have really changed. But unfortunately, they have not changed that much because, yes, there has been a lot of work that has been done by local NGOs to protect these women, to protect their children, and especially to make the law advance. And some changes have happened. For instance, children that were born out of wedlock before had no identity at all. Today they do have an identity, but you can still recognize on a child's documents or an adult's documents that they don't have a father. And there's always this kind of a stigma related to that. And the stigma is very, very important. And it has an impact on the whole life, adult life also of that very child. And although the laws have changed a little bit, like I said, they really have not changed enough. A woman having a child before would, for example, not be able to go to the hospital because, you know, she would be taken in, imprisoned. Now it's not going to happen necessarily, but it's up to the judge to decide, because at the end of the day, it is illegal to have sexual relations out of marriage. So a judge can decide if yes or not, what to do with you. So basically, no, I mean, things have not changed as much as they should have changed.
Yes,
and like I said, thank God there is these amazing associations like Solidarité Féminine, like SOS Maman, that are doing a lot to change the situation of these women and these children in Morocco.
Yeah. Before I go into the film, since we are in this talking about these issues, I wanted to ask, the children who are given up for adoption, are they usually adopted quite easily, or are they just staying for long times in institutions?
No, I mean, children that are given in for adoption can be adopted after. It's, it's so. I was very shocked by one thing. For instance, I was very shocked to see that girls got adopted much more easily than boys. For example, a lot of people found more boys than girls in institutions because. I guess in the popular belief, girls are more docile, more. I don't know how to explain it, but there's something
variable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a lot of times having a boy adopted is much more difficult than having a girl adopted. But yeah, I mean, adoptions do happen, and of course that's why a lot of women in the situation of Samia most of the times prefer to give their children away, because having to raise a child alone as an unwed mom is such a big stigma for the child that if the child gets adopted, nobody knows really where he's coming from. So in some sense, he has a better chance in life.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And this was clear in the film that even though it was completely breaking her heart in the end, this is what she could have done best for him at the end, to unfortunately, to separate herself from him.
It's a sacrifice, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's sacrificing, because there is a moment when she believes that she has the strength to keep him, but then it's not about her, it's about him.
Yes.
It's the future, and there's all these things that are torturing her, because at the end of the day, it's how do you say it? It's yeah, elle est dans une impasse. There is no real solution. Whatever she does, she's losing and he's losing. She's gonna lose her child. He's gonna lose his mother.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a tough situation, and you portrayed it really well in all its complexity. But your film is not only the story of Samia, it's the story of Habla, Samia, and Habla's daughter, Werda, that somehow probably represents you in this age when this woman came to your...
Oh no, I was older. I was
Okay. I was wondering.
I was old enough to realize what this woman is experiencing. That's why the experience, I think, was even more marking for me, because I was a young woman coming back from university. But it's true that with this little child Warda, there's a lot of things in me as well that, it's true that there's a lot of things that I see through a child's eye still. And yes, I do feel that there is this kind of observation that, brings me close to Warda.
Yeah. The Adam is also a beautiful story of female solidarity. Like Habla takes over Samia because she pities her in the beginning and she feels that she needs to do something, but she doesn't want to neither, because she is herself suffering from grief, because she is herself have difficulties with her emotions, with letting people in. But then she takes over Abla, and then this relationship starts to build little by little, and the walls start to fall down. And you managed to tell this very beautiful story. And I sometimes, maybe it's wrong to say feminine way and to attribute these kind of gender adjectives to what women do, but you also used a lot of sensuality in your film. Like you have the baking, and it's extremely sensual, the way the women are baking, the way they are preparing these lovely food. And I also read that you really researched that. You went with your actresses and they had to learn how women bake, really. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
For sure. Adam was for me really about being able to get under the skin of these women, to really understand who they were from the inside, to really understand what the things that were hurting them were, what the things that were making them smile were, what their real deep internal struggles are. Sometimes the struggles that they weren't even aware of. And for us as spectators to be able to sort of come into under their skin, inside their soul, and be with them for the duration of the film. And for that, it was very important for me to be as close as possible to them, both physically with the camera, and in order to recreate something like you were talking about sensuality. For me, it was also a film where I wanted us to feel physically what these women were feeling, through the touch, that to make it palpable. For instance, kneading the dough, the gesture of kneading the dough. Abla has cut herself from her emotions, and it also is visible in the way that she's kneading her dough, which is completely, with no emotion, until Samia arrives and teaches her once again to open up to what she feels, to reconnect with who she is, even with her pain. And for this, I really chose to be able to do it through very close shots, having the camera really in a position that allowed us to bring down this barrier between the spectator and the characters. So trying to recreate something that was extremely intimate, and at the same time, it was also about finding the right distance, because it was also important for me to be observing them from outside without being voyeuristic, respecting their intimacy. So it was all a question of balancing, and of course, when you're in a week clos like this, it's also always a question of balancing the emotion in the evolution of the characters, of the of the emotion. Everything is related. Everything is interconnected. But yeah, it was very important for me to be able to talk about this sensuality, you know, that is felt, and to make us feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, for me, it was a very a strong moment where I really felt very physically what they were feeling. Was the moment, I would say, of the awakening of Habla in the music scene, where Samia puts on the music and forces her to listen, to feel it in her body, and to start to live again. It's a very strong moment where, as you said, the feelings come to us through the bodies, through the sensuality. And also, since we were talking about mise en scène and what you were doing, after that, everything starts to become, the light changes. We have the feeling that we entered into their world somehow, or into their intimacy.
There was a real reflection around the light and the evolution of the light as well, the light and the spaces, because we are in a closed space. But like, for me, it was important for us to feel that the walls that are separating these women are falling little by little. The walls are really there physically, but that they're falling. So it was also a way of filming these spaces with les encadrements des portes, you know, with the door frames once in a while, and how you can literally bring down these walls that are physical, but that are also emotional, where these women are going to be able to make an interior journey, you know, towards each other, and really to inside themselves, you know, to really for Habla, you know, have this kind of rebirth, because Adam is also, for me, about birth on one side and a rebirth on the other side, because Samia is expecting this child, so she is having this birth that's coming, that's imminent. But you know, Habla is going to be reborn, because she had died. So it's really about being able to tell these things through the image, basically.
Yes. And also something that we and I and my colleagues noticed a lot in your film is this painting inspiration in the scenes that you have. It reminded me a lot of the Flemish paintings in a lot of moments, the lighting, the position, these women. Were you really inspired by that?
It's, you know, Pascale, I didn't realize until I started shooting and I started seeing my images, how strongly I had been inspired. I think it's something, you know, I mean, it's something that has happened unconsciously. I think we all are like sponges, and the things that inspire us, you know, we just keep them in a little part of us inside. And of course, I didn't think, I never thought, okay, I'm going to choose this color or this light because of this reason. But it's naturally what I did, you know, and that's what I was attracted by. And I realized only afterwards why. And it's true that, you know, I love Vermeer, I love de la Tour, Caravaggio, to cite a few, you know, and I realized the impact after seeing the work as it was progressing.
Wonderful. We have a question from somebody. Can you let us know how the casting process was like? How did you choose the two actresses who would carry the film?
For me, the casting process was the thing that scared me the most, because I had really, like, I was so close to my main characters as I was writing them. I loved them so much. There was something very visceral, you know, between us, that I really was afraid of the moment I would have to cast, because I was saying to myself, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the actresses, you know, that I feel are going to be able to give them flesh in the way that I feel about them. And then luckily I found, I knew Lubna Azabal from before, and I've always been very, very admirative of her talent. And for me, you know, she really carried the truth. For me, it was about truth, that the actresses carry the truth of these characters, that they understand deep down who these women were. That's why we worked a lot as well. But that's a different story, and how on how to prepare for the characters. But I found this truth in Lubna Azabal, and Nisreen Aradi I did not know. I had never met her before, and when I met her, there was something that just blew me away, because she was like she had this strength, you know, this sensitivity at the same time, this energy, this something very sans concession about her, and this fragility as well that reminded me of Samia, that made me realize, you know, that she could really give flesh to this character truthfully, and so it was wonderful to work with them. And with the little girl Warda, I had met a lot of actresses, of small girls that I had been introduced to in the classical manner through my casting directors. But I was 2 weeks away from shooting, and I still had not found my little Warda, because I felt that there was something a little bit factice. I don't know. Maybe it's not the right word.
Yeah.
It didn't feel authentic. I didn't feel true. And so I didn't, you know, everybody was telling me, you know, you have to decide yourself. I had wonderful little girls that were acting, but it didn't feel right. And one day when I was scouting in the Medina of Casablanca, there was 3 little girls running around in one of the alleys, and one of them was Dua Al Khawda. And she just looked at me, and something happened between us, you know. So I walked up to her, and I met her parents, and she was extremely shy at the beginning. She couldn't even look at me in the eyes when we spoke. And everybody was telling me, "You're crazy. You cannot take her. She's never going to be able to last through the whole film." But I don't know, I just felt it was her, and I started seeing her, and we became friends, and I spent a lot of time with her, and she turned out to be incredible and had a huge sensibility, very mature, and what was really touching about Dua as well is that she waited for us to finish the whole film. And the last day of the shooting, she told me, she's like, "Maryam, do you know that I always dreamt of being an actress? And my parents said that's just a dream that's never going to happen." She's like, "Well, now I can say I'm an actress." And I found that beautiful, because she could have told me before to influence me, but she did not.
Yeah.
And she's a little girl. So that was beautiful.
Yeah. And she's amazing. I mean, she's such a natural talent. I was not expecting that, because she really is an amazing character in the film. She carries this character so well. So definitely she should become an actress.
A ray of sunlight as well. I was really looking for a ray of sunlight inside this closed house.
Yeah.
She is that.
Yeah, true. Absolutely true. I also, actually, one of the things that struck me watching the film is the name of the film, Adam, you know, the first man, but somehow naming the film Adam, but telling the story of the women, of the mothers, and somehow putting back the women in the central place that has been taken away from them in, you know, the biblical or religious stories, where they are the central part of creation. And I thought it was a beautiful name that you chose for the film. Did you do that on purpose?
For me, Adam is very symbolic for several reasons. First of all, because if you go back justement to la Genèse, for me, it's about this. Creation is about this, and every man is born out of a woman, whoever this man might be. He has been 9 months in the womb of a woman. So that for me is an important reminder. And also in Moroccan Arabic, Moroccan dialect, when you refer to a person, you say, for example, Ben Adam. That means a human being.
Yeah.
Beni Adam. I guess
we also say it in Lebanese. Yeah.
So for me, it was important as well, because this child that is born out of wedlock is above all Beni Adam. He's a human being, you know. He has to have the same right to life, the same right, you know, to the same dignity as any other human being, and nobody can take that away from him. So for me, that was also making the point of this Adam is a Beni Adam, you know. This child is a Beni Adam. That's what matters. No, it doesn't matter where he's coming from, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Your film was screened in Morocco. How was it received?
It was well received. It was very well received, and I was very happy about that, because even when we screened, there was a lot of discussions with the audience, and sometimes, you know, there was parts of the audience that were quite conservative, but there was a real opening to discussion. Even with the conservative part, there was a real desire to talk about these things and to talk about the situation. And I found that was very, very promising, that there is so much desire to speak and to debate. And what I felt is that there is a real desire for change in certain aspects. And sometimes it's about bringing the debate into the public space in the right manner. And I felt that Adam did contribute to this, because there was a lot of articles that, that were written after about these children, about these women, and it was bringing them back into the light as well, in a dignified manner. For me, it was important to be able to contribute in any case, in that sense.
Yes, amazing. And well, I think cinema does in his own way. We can't say cinema makes huge changes, but to be able to open a discussion again, to put things, to represent the ones that are not represented, cinema does make a change. And thank you for that. Also, in many other countries of the Arab world, where the situation for women who are bringing children out of the wedlock is very much similar, if not worse, than in Morocco. Was the film screened in other parts of the Arab world?
In other parts of the Arab world, it's been screened in festivals, but it hasn't been released. After, it's true that this year has been a strange year with the pandemic and everything, but it has not been released yet in other parts of the Arab world, and I would be curious to see how it will be received.
Yeah, that would be also very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And well, since there are not any more questions coming from the public, I will finish, unless we get something, by asking you, do you have anything new planned? Would you like to share with us your new plans?
I am actually. I'm shooting soon, and yes, I've been working on a new film, and I'm very. I don't feel very comfortable talking about the films before, but it's true that it's quite an intimate film as well, and I think it's about everything I've ever done has always been about things that have come inscribing themselves inside me over the years. And I think there's a moment when Adam came out that left the space inside for other things, to start taking up that space. And that's how I felt, because I thought I was going to stay a very long time before writing anything else. I don't know how to write if I'm not inspired. I really need to feel a deep desire, a necessity to tell a story or to write a story. And I really thought it was going to take a long time, because those are things qu'on ne commande pas. You don't know when it comes. Yes. And I was very, very, very surprised to see, like I said, that when Adam was released, it's like if it left a space inside for things that were lying deep down waiting to start emerging. So yes, so I mean, I've written I'm actually preparing my next film.
Okay, great. We are looking forward to it, definitely. Wish you a lot of luck, and I hope that soon the situation for cinemas and films will change, that Adam will be able to resume its tour and to take the place it deserves on the screens everywhere in the world, because it's such a beautiful film and it definitely deserves to be seen everywhere. I would like to thank you so much for this talk this evening, and again, congratulate you for Adam. I wish we could have had you here with us in person, but the situation is as it is. And maybe for your next project, next time you will be with us in Berlin, we would love to have you here.
Pleasure. Thank you very much, Pascale. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Same here. And before I leave everybody, I would like to tell you to join us tomorrow for the next film talk on the short film program of ALFILM. It will be moderated by my lovely and dear colleague, Rabia Al-Khouri, and we are looking forward to see you tomorrow evening. Good evening and bye.